Hello everybody, Simone here with Bulletproof Business Growth. As always, with some ideas and insights, what to pay attention to when you are on track to growing and scaling your business. And you know you have to put the right foundation, the right structure in place and cross those T's and dot those I's to make sure this goes right without a hitch, and you're not stuck in all these growing pains. So one of the biggest challenges that a lot of our clients face is they have limited budget. They know they need to hire to make that big next push in their business, and how to make sure that you get the right people on the bus. Because as Good to Great says, as Jim Collins says, you gotta get the right people on the bus first, and those people can help you figure out where this bus is going, what seats to put them in, so to make sure that you have the best journey going forward. So getting those right people on the bus is the hardest part, and everybody's been suffering with labor talent shortage, higher salaries, higher pay, greater, bigger, different expectations. So this has become a much different science than it ever was before. So, and you know that hiring right is really what can enable you to get to that next level of business. Or if you get it wrong, it could set you back months and months and months. It could taint the rest of the team. There's so many things that can go wrong, even just getting one wrong person on your team. So we really want to make sure to avoid that. This is your biggest opportunity. This is one of your biggest investments that you make. So let's get this right. Because let's be honest, you may have a business that's already doing well, that's a good business, but to go from a good to a great business, that means you need great people. And one of the measures of growth and success is the number of employees that you have, because more employees, more of the right employees means more sales, more revenue, more customers, more everything. So you know you can't do this alone. You need those great people on your bus. So that means we have to hire up meaning next quality, better people who can bring that new mojo, that new gas, that new possibility to the team so that you can level up. So hire up to level up. So first things first is when you know that you're running kind of an empty, you need more help. Well, the first move that so many of our clients make is they're just going, okay, I'm just going to hire for this role, for this title, and they can figure out what that means. You know, big red flag right there. So the first thing that has to happen is you need to know what you're hiring for. So you need to get crystal clear what this role is about. What's the outcome that you want from that role? What are the actions, generally the actions that you need people to take? What are the results that you need them to bring? So the what part you have to get really clear about, because it's really easy to just pick a title. Oh, I'm going to hire a director of operations, but you don't really know what that means. And secretly you hope that they will, and they're just going to somehow solve it for you. And, you know, that's kind of like hope is never a good business model. So clarity is going to get you the biggest value for the buck to start with. So we have to start with clarity from you about what you really need. Like, what's the outcome that you want? What are the results that you need them to drive? How's that directly related to revenue and profit? So we need to get super clear about that part before you even do anything. Well, like our clients learn how to go through a process that gets them a really good plan, that gives them the clarity for what they're hiring for, what this role is, what the job description is, how they're going to express that in their job posting, and then how that actually pans out in the interview. So they have a process for doing that, and I recommend you find a process for doing that, because that is going to be the most important aspect of ensuring that you get that right and that you don't waste that huge investment that you're about to make. So we have to know what it is that we want, But then the other part is, okay, so now that you're clear on the role, the expectations for the role, and you know what that title actually means to you, and you have a plan for advertising, interviewing, hiring, onboarding, well, part of that also needs to map out the who. Like, who is this person you want? Like, our clients learn how to make a very holistic plan for that encompasses that. So make sure that you understand like who, the kind of person, their character, their values, their standards, like what are the specific skill sets they're bringing to the table? Who are they? Who would make a great match for this position? So you want to get clear about the what and the who first. So, and you have to do that on a personal level, especially if this is somebody who's going to be working with you closely. Like, what kind of personality do you do well with? Which one do you not at all? What are non-negotiables? What are things that, you can kind of live with because they're bringing you more value on the other end? So you have to get really clear about this on a personal level for you. And then if they're going to be interacting with the rest of your teams, like what is going to make them a great team fit? How will they actually be an asset to your already existing team? So these are all questions you really, really need to ask yourself if you want to make sure that you get this right. So, and then I said, there's 3 questions that you must ask yourself if you want to even get close to right. Well, the first one really is that I like to ask is, will I admire this person? Because think about this, like everybody comes in, yes, for a paycheck. Everybody needs to get paid. That's why we have jobs. That's why we do work. And everybody inherently wants to have a good experience. They want to have a good day when they go to work. So we want to make sure that the person that you hire is somebody that you respect at a very great level. And people who come in, who interview with you, who want to be part of your team, they want to know that you respect them, that they're going to be able to give you great contribution, and that they matter in the way they do that. And I talk a lot about human needs theory because it is so important. Psychologically understanding what drives humans will give you such a huge leg up. So, and 2 of the biggest human needs are contribution and significance. So people need to know that when they come in, that they can provide value. So at the end of the day, they feel good about what they did. They feel good about the work they did. They feel productive. They feel like they did something valuable with their day. And that it matters that it was them, right? That they brought their special sauce to the table, that they did a specifically good job, that they're unique, their contribution is unique and different from what anybody else has done. That's that significance piece. Is like what I do matters, is contribution, and who I am matters, and that I matter, that I'm seen, heard, and acknowledged. That's another piece that's really huge. The other one is community, which is another one of the human needs, is that I fit in with who I am spending my day with. So when you ask yourself, will I admire this person? You want to ask in terms of their contribution, in terms of their significance, and in terms of what do they contribute to the community. So to the job, to the customer, to the community, to you, like all those are huge. You want to know that this is somebody you truly like having around. You admire them for who they are and what they do, and you respect them for the way they conduct themselves, right? So because when you think about respecting and admiring, those go hand in hand. When you admire somebody, you respect them. And when you respect them, you admire them. And you got to have that at all levels in your company, because when your team respects and admires each other, they're going to have a whole different level of commitment to each other and a whole different level of loyalty towards you and towards their peers, which that's the only thing that ever matters, because that means they show up. And they really show up when you need them to show up. So part of that is making sure, like I said, you have to admire them, you have to respect them. That also means they have to meet your standards. They have to have standards that are in alignment with yours and the teams, with the companies, with the mission. And the same thing with core values, that you have to have core values that are in alignment with each other. So this new person has to be a fit with your overall company and team core values and standards, so that they can fit in, they can contribute to this community, and that they take the things and do the things in the way that you as a whole would do. So we want to make sure that they can come in and live their purpose, that there's shared goals, that they're showing up for something bigger than just the paycheck. Yes, we're all here for a paycheck because we need to make money. And at the same time, if that's the only thing they show up for, you know it's a disaster. So we have to make sure we give them everything. We bring them into the right environment, and they're the right people to bring into our environment, so that they can be on purpose, they can be part of our shared goals, and that they're there for something bigger than just the money. So this creates a lot of meaning. And when you have meaning in your daily actions and in your reason for being, well, that means you're a much better team fit. Everybody shows up with the same purpose, and everybody, it's like you're giving them something to care about and why. And they have to know why they're here, why they're caring, and why they show up, because that is really how you deliver at the highest level of value and purpose for somebody. And this is how you bring somebody in who actually wants to stay. And this is how to make sure that they don't just stay for the paycheck, because if, Joe Blow next door is offering $2 more an hour, well, if they're just there for the paycheck, they're gone. So when you bring in people with this like added layer, or many added layers, I should say, of purpose, of human needs, of psychological understanding, and truly from that heart value perspective, now you have people who really care and who want to be there, even if they could be making more money somewhere else. And in the beginning, I talked about, there's a much different level of expectation from today's employees, which a lot of it has to do with we're dealing with a different generation. Gen Z is our biggest talent and labor pool right now, and they want to have meaning in what they do. They want to have meaning, they want to grow, they want to get feedback, they want to have value, they want to have purpose, and all those things are actually really, really good news for you if you take advantage of that and actually support and grow that piece. If this is all just, added effort and you don't see the opportunity in it, then you're going to have a tough road going forward, finding the right people and making sure if you do manage to hire them, that they will stay, because those are the two big things, right? It's not just asking the right questions so you can hire the right people, but also giving the right value and supporting people in the right way so that they would stay and continue to deliver that value. So we need to make sure that respect is a huge piece of your culture, from you and for you, because, think about this. If you don't care about them, why would they care about you? And that is just the question over and over. And that is something that you have to set really, really clear in your company. So first question was, will you admire them? Second one is, well, we have to make sure that, are we hiring up? Are we hiring somebody who will be a great asset to our existing team? So hiring up is one of those subjects that I love to talk about, because it is one of the most effective, fastest, and energy producing way of up leveling your company and your growth. So hiring up, meaning you going to hire somebody who comes in with a much greater skill level, alignment, fit, all the things to help you get to the next level of your company. So you're hiring for skill and effectiveness. Now, it's easy to hire for what you think you need right now. And this is where the clarity aspect comes in. And this is where it's so important that you have a really well-grounded vision. The way our our customers do their living vision that is very, very holistic, that gives everybody the full picture. Because when you and your team, when you're not clear about where your company is going, it's super easy to make those short-sighted hires that are good for right now, but they're not going to propel you forward into the future. So it's easy to hire those well-rounded candidates where they just seem like they're great fit right now, they'll fit right in, so it'll be really easy to have them around. But what that really means is that you are regressing your average, because you want people who are actually going to challenge, who are going to bring up the average versus who are regressing it. So you got to be really clear about when you're hiring, right? Because if you're just hiring for skill, you're going to have some bad news later, because that means you miss some very, very important attributes that can make or break your business. So you have to, when you're hiring, you want to make sure that you get really, really clear about what your non-negotiable area of focus is when you're hiring. So let me explain that a little bit, what I mean by that. We call that the ITS, as in we make sure that, of course, they have to have the capacity to do the job. But contrary to popular belief, that's actually not as important unless you hire for an executive position. But if you're hiring just for like somebody who's going to be good, who does the job, you can always train more. What you can't adjust more is can do, will do, team fit, that sort of thing. So the first thing, the capacity to do it, yes, they have to have the capacity, they have to have the skill set. But the other part is, do they get it? And the get it part is the culture, it's the values, it's the standards, it's all that stuff we already talked about, so that they bring that right level of energy and focus into your team. Because every time you hire, it makes everybody else a little bit unsure, because they're going, oh, so this new person coming in, how are they going to tread on my toes? Everybody's territorial, everybody's protective over their own area. So anytime you hire somebody, that is going to shake things up a little bit. So everybody else will get a little bit nervous, which is good, because that means they're going to be on their toes more. So you want to hire up somebody who comes in at a higher level of energy, focus, commitment, values, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the get it part, is like, do they get who they need to be so that they can truly help you get to that next level of company? And then, of course, do they want to do a good job? Do they need to do a good job for who they are? But the biggest piece of that is that you keep looking at this hire that I'm making. Will they help me get where we're going? And that piece, it is super easy to lose sight of when you don't have clarity about that, because you're not hiring for right now. You're hiring for your future opportunity, possibility, and growth. So you want to have somebody who is going to be that right fit, that higher up, for at least 18 to 36 months. So you got to have somebody that your company can grow into. That is the piece. You want somebody hiring up, somebody who is already at a higher level, who will help you take your average to the higher level. So when you think about, hiring up, what is my number one non-negotiable, you have to figure out what that is for you. Like I already said, skill set should be a given, right? So now we're going to look at what's the it that you're most focused on. Is it team fit? That they're just going to be awesome for the whole team, they help up-level the whole team? Is it that they are a stellar individual contributor who's going to take their role and shoot through to the moon with that, who's going to shake up what they do? Or are they going to be the ones who show up as a teacher, mentor, overall champion of your company, because they need to really feel like that they are making the hugest difference that they can make? So you want to make sure that you get away from this hiring for now, because that means you need to fight the plateau that you could be getting to, that maybe you're on already. Because the second you're plateauing, that means actually you're regressing. When you're not growing, you are regressing. There's really no cruising. So get really, really clear on that. The bar must always go up, because otherwise it's going down. So what I'm talking about, why this is so important, is that far too many of our clients, they come out of firefighting mode, emergencies, barely hanging on, and they're doing business very reactively and very short-term focus. When you are on that track and you're hiring from that perspective, you're not going to make the best hire. So you have to know, like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, what will our standards look like then? You want to be in a place where, you know, you see somebody 5 years from now look around and go, oh my God, the standards here are insanely high. I'm glad I got in when I got in, right? So that's really how you want it to be. Again, you know, you can always fill those training gaps, but you want to set the bar higher and higher, because that means your performance level will keep going up, and that's what you need when you're going for growth. So that was the second question. And the third question is always about, like, who are these superstars? And who I'm talking about, when you look at their profile, their makeup, their heart, who are they? Because generally when you think about the people who come in and make a difference, they're not your ordinary people. They might be a little eccentric, they might be irreverent, they may be a little odd. They're probably kind of their unique beings, but that's what makes up your unique team. It's not like you have to hire a team of oddballs, but you have to hire people who know who they are and value themselves for it. And sometimes that means they're a little different, but that is what the unusual is, what brings in the fresh air. It shakes things up. It up levels everybody's contribution and commitment, and it makes sure that things are kind of fun, that they are a little bit different, that there's some fresh mojo, and that's what you want to bring to your team. So making sure that, you know, your superstar level, that you know who that is really, really important. So your unique team, don't be afraid to hire somebody who's just a little bit different. They have to still complement each other. It still means they have to fit together, but bringing in a little bit of a different level of energy is a good thing. So your question when you're looking at a number of candidates is always, will they raise the bar? Will they make people uncomfortable in a good way? Because far too many teams are complacent and they go to sleep. So just remember, the one thing, if you remember anything out of this whole interaction, is that you got to bring the people on board who are just lighting a little bit of a fire under everybody's butt, so that everybody's waking up and thinking new, and it's a fresh new day, and we're going to show up at a different level and at a higher level. So you want to make sure that this person, like you're looking at 5 different people, ask yourself, which one of these people will raise the bar? And not just skill level wise, but the energy they bring to the team. That's the biggest piece. Because when they raise the bar, that means boundaries are going to be stretched all over the place. They are going to make the team uncomfortable, and even better if they make you uncomfortable. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that as in they're forcing things to be a little different. And they may be asking you questions that you hadn't really been asked before. They may be making requests that haven't been made before. They're going to uncover some things that actually really need uncovering, and maybe it's just been uncomfortable to look at this stuff before. So that's why I'm saying it's a good thing when you hire somebody who makes you uncomfortable in a good way, because they challenge the status quo. They are not willing or even able to accept kind of the layer and the level of dysfunction that every company has. So hire those people who are a little unique, who are a little different, who live outside the box, because outside the box is where the best ideas live. So, and when you have all that, the biggest question in the end is, are you good enough to actually help these people be successful? So now you hired the best candidate. Now you have to be able to support them. So let go of all the thinking that, you may have developed when you, in your career, the old school principles of delegation and letting people just kind of do their own thing, or whatever it is that you're practicing. I really invite you to look at what it means to have intentional leadership and growth on your team, because that's what we're going for. Without intentional leadership and commitment to growth, nothing really works. So we have a brand new training out there I invite you to watch. It's bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap. bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap. That addresses all this stuff in detail. So go to that link, check out the training, and have a fabulous week, and I will see you